Hi. So, this topic for today was decided because very recently my mom complained that I am an extremely absent-minded person. I mean, not I am, but I have become an extremely absent-minded person because a lot of times when she's talking to me, I get lost. I'm in my own thoughts, and I always tend to take time to respond to her calls, and sometimes even while she's talking to me I might get distracted with other things, and I was like, okay. And then she keeps saying like, "Nee appante mola," in the sense that you are your father's daughter. My dad is the most absent-minded person that can ever exist. Anyway, so I thought, okay, this is an interesting phenomena because I was not an absent-minded person, but for the past 3-4 years I have noted that I am going into the whole dad's daughter kind of track. So it felt like it'd be interesting to talk about this particular topic today. Today I actually decided to do a few cuts in my video so that the flow is maintained well. What are the symptoms of being absent-minded? As I already said, one of my symptom or one of my thing that I used to do, that I do, is that while my mom is talking, sometimes there's this delayed reaction. A lot of times she must have already told me something, and then after a long time I'm like, huh? And then that amazingly starts irritating her. That's there. Then sometimes when you're walking into a room and then you're forgetting, like, why did I walk into this room in the first place? That's there. Then there is this, you're there physically, like you are present over there, but then mentally you're somewhere else. That's a sign of absent-mindedness. So there are so many signs of absent-mindedness, and my thing was I wanted to understand why this is happening so that I can tackle this whole complaint better, striving to be a good daughter. So one of the reasons is that a lot of times there is this inner monologue that is happening inside our heads. Inner monologue in the sense that for me, a lot of times inside my head there will be so many scripts and so many tabs open at the same time that when some kind of external call comes for me, it takes me some time to respond to them. So that happens a lot for me. And also, I don't know how many of you experience this, because this is purely my work related. I work in a place where communication matters a lot. I have to talk a lot, I have to analyze a lot, I have to understand the situation, understand the students, and all those a lot more. And so a lot of my battery is over there, due to which I'm drained. That happens a lot. So during further communications, I tend to notice that I'm completely gone. I'm no longer present over there. So that is also another reason. Okay, so there are other reasons as well. For example, like when you're a person who is having hyper focus. For example, you're too zoned into something. There are a lot of times to be able to break that and go into another conversation or another kind of situation is hard. That is there. Then there is also the situation where your screen time has increased a lot, and your dopamine intake is so heavy that you're exhausted. Then there is this emotional overload, information overload. In this current world, when our brain is working in some kind of extreme level speed, a lot of times we tend to get drained a lot more faster, due to which this kind of frictions and all those things start happening. Small slight forgetfulness, absent-mindedness, and these kind of things start happening. And when you look at it, to be honest, it's not that big a deal, absent-minded. Why should somebody even make a video on being absent-minded? So when you look at it, it's not a big deal. But then what happens is that this particular absent-mindedness leads to further things. For example, problems in communication, which further leads to problems leading to misunderstandings, and forgetfulness leading to misunderstandings and frictions and so many problems. So that is why, even though it is not that huge a topic, I wanted to be able to talk on this. As I said, that since my mom has complained about it, and I am planning to work on it. I was looking for solutions on how you can actually tackle this particular situation where you're tending to be more absent-minded, and a few situations or a few strategies that I noticed was that one is to be able to name it so that you can tame it, in the sense that, like, okay, right now I have lost focus, come back. There's nothing wrong with that. You can always, whenever you feel like you have lost focus, you can always bring your attention back. That's one. Another thing is mindfulness. Now, mindfulness is something that I like doing at times, and it's also something that I make my students do sometimes, which is when you are feeling like you're too overwhelmed with a lot of things, focus on your 5 senses. For example, 5 things, not the regular things, but 5 things that you don't usually look at. Find those 5 things, find them out in your visual area. The next, try to hear 5 things. Next, see if you can get 5 different smells, 5 different feels, sense of feel. For example, your pant touching your legs or your t-shirt on your neck. So these kind of experiences. When you're doing this, what happens is that you're coming out of that mental voice that is constantly going on in your head, that chatter. You come to the present, by which you are able to focus more on the environment, the people, and all those aspects. Then another thing is definitely avoid multitasking. Now, our generation in the sense that, like, the people that are there right now are so into multitasking that we tend to be so occupied, we ignore things that are not in our to-do things right now. So we have to be more aware of those aspects. And then we can also keep, like, for example, anchor objects. For example, like, maybe keep a bottle or a kind of plant or something around you, based on which whenever you see that particular thing, you know that, okay, come back. Like, whenever I'm talking to you guys and I notice that bottle sitting over there, I'm like, okay, come back, Varsha, come back to the present. So these are a few strategies that I noticed. And also, yes, definitely, as I always say, that you need to take all those things in your head out, bring it out, and then so that it doesn't stay there and keep bugging you. So one of the best strategies is obviously journaling and diary writing and all those aspects. So these are a few strategies based on which you will be able to focus on the present world more. Now, is it needed? You might be thinking, we are so occupied. Isn't focus or hyper-focus actually good? Then why should we focus on even the focus of doing one thing and the other thing at the same time? Does not make sense, because that's also multitasking. What I would say is that it is needed, because we cannot be fully into one thing, right? In the sense that we cannot, like, for example, when I'm talking in this particular video, I cannot be full-fledged, focused purely only onto this video, because I have to be aware of my external environment too, right? Like, anything can happen. Someone might need me, like, in an extremely emergency situations, and I should be able to react immediately. I cannot be like, nope, I am too hyper focused on this and it's important. So yes, there should be definitely a sense of awareness. The moment you lose sense of awareness, basically losing sense of awareness is not a great thing, right? You need to be aware. You need to be aware of your environment. You need to be aware of your situations, and do not be so zoned in or so occupied onto one thing that you unconsciously or consciously end up hurting people. That's it. So it's not a very big topic. Today I did not decide to talk on a huge topic, but then I think it was an important topic because it's something that I am working on. Did these strategies work for me? You might be thinking. It's not like magically I suddenly became the most enlightened person and hyper-focused person and self-aware person or such things, but then it does work at times. Definitely I'm using these anchors and I am using these strategies. Mindfulness, yes, I do use it a lot of times, especially like when I'm too overwhelmed but I still have work pending to do. The other aspects, I am working on it, and it works. It does work. It might work in the long run. Maybe I'll make a part 2 of this video if anybody is interested. So yes, that's it. So this is for my video today. Thank you. Bye bye.